guys, I'm Chrisadel and today I'll be doing my second book review. But the thing that's special about today is that I'm not doing a book, but I'm doing a manga book review. Now, okay, first thing first, I know that there's a bookshelf behind me. There's a reason behind this. The bookshelf is not meant to be there, but I just feel kind of weird having people see my bedroom, so I just kind of dragged it out there. So yes, the bookshelf is not supposed to be there, but I dragged it there. So yeah, and I'm in a different background today because I was thinking, and I'm trying really hard to look at the camera hole, which is like, I don't have a camera, it's my phone, and all I'm using is this selfie camera because I'm still a beginner and I'm not used to just really not seeing anything, so I might be looking here, but I'm trying not to. Okay, I'll try to look straight at the hole. Okay, so I'm gonna do my best and improve on my camera skills. I mean, I've never been interested in photography like at all, like especially when there was this photography module in, I'm gonna sidetrack, there's this photography module in my school, and I did it lah because I was thinking, you know it's fine, but I didn't care. I don't, shutter lenses, everything, I am so not interested in it. But for background wise, I was thinking, I actually did try to film there first, that wall, which is actually my cupboard actually. But I was thinking, why not have a change? And I switched to my table because I ain't rich enough to buy a ring light or whatever light they use when they, those people film their videos. Or maybe it's sunlight, but there ain't no sun because I just came back from work. So it's just dark night. So I thought, I'm gonna try the table because I've done it before and it's beautiful. And now when I look at it, I mean, it looks okay, so I don't mind. So this is gonna be a new setting with a shelf that I just dragged in. First of all, it's not organized. I still have a carton of my books that I have not placed inside, and there's no space left. Okay, it's like an IKEA shelf, and if you can see, I am a little Tolkien crazy. Today I'm gonna talk about Fruits Basket. Now, this book, I used to really love reading manga when I was in secondary school, and I think it kind of started when I was in primary 6, and I think, oh no, I was in primary school already when in the television they show the first, I mean actual anime, not counting Pokemon and Digimon and Yu-Gi-Oh, okay, not counting those things. The first like actual anime that I really watched was Inuyasha. So it's my first ever anime I watched. Inuyasha, it has a fond place in my heart. It's really nostalgic, and it was just really great for kids to watch because it's not that it's not that mind-boggling like some animes really are nowadays. I feel like what the Melancholy of Suzumiya Haruhi. Ooh, that's like, I think I don't even understand what's going on. So I started off from there, and then my second one was actually Trinity Blood. I know I only picked that up because it was on the shelf, and then I bought it. I didn't know what it was, but it kind of seemed hardcore, so I watched that, slowly became that, and then I picked up Fruits Basket, the manga. Now, in the shopping mall that's near where I used to live, there's this manga bookstore place. It was an absolutely lovely place. I can't remember the name of the shop, something like Green something, but it's this really quaint and lovely place at the bottom, the basement level of a shopping mall, and the lady there was super nice. She had this, it's just a small place, but it was just filled with manga books that they had, and I remember very particularly that they had Fruits Basket. I don't remember if I had bought Fruits Basket, how I started buying Fruits Basket actually. I don't remember. I think, if I remember correctly, someone had borrowed me in secondary school one of the books, one of the middle volume, and I read it, and it was the first time I felt, I think the thing that really caught me was really the story, the emotions, and I never felt that in many stories before, in any stories actually, or in any manga. And then I thought, I really have to buy this, so I went to buy the first book. I think the funny thing is that I kind of bought things not in secret. I just kind of jumped randomly by. I basically, with whatever time that I had in that manga bookstore, comic bookstore, I used it to read, and then I chose what I wanted to buy because books are not cheap in my country. And okay, hang on, I brought something to eat. I know, bedroom, not supposed to eat, but I brought coconut yogurt and blueberries, and I'm going to be opening to eat them. And I don't know if this is called mukbang, I don't know what it is, okay, but I've seen quite a few videos and I have no idea how to do this, and if I look like kind of funny, well, I apologize. But hey, it's all for fun, right? So yeah, and so I started to buy. I think the first book that I bought was book 3, if I remember correctly. Book 3, yeah. Which one was it? Ah, there it is. And I don't even have the cover because it's been like secondary school, which is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, Sec 1, Sec 2, Sec 3, Sec 4, 2, 3. I think almost 7 years. So, yep, it's old. And okay, that's the thing that caught me, and my handwriting is still there. And I read the books and I thought, I really love the depth. When I was younger, I couldn't understand or appreciate or really understand what an impact that. I like to stir in blueberries in my yogurt. So, do any of you guys do that too? So I couldn't understand, but I only know that it made me I really enjoyed it. Yeah. And I bought several books along the way, more and more. The characters in Fruits Basket. There's Toru Honda, there's, let me see, Kyo Soma, Yuki Soma, Shiger Soma. And these characters are basically, they are under this curse of the 12th zodiac and the 13th zodiac, which is, okay, because if you guys aren't like Asian or you don't know much about the Chinese zodiac, we basically have like this circle of 12 zodiacs that depends on the year you're born in. You'll be a certain zodiac, you could be maybe like born in the year of the tiger or the dog or the rat. You could be born in a certain animal year. And this story is basically about this Soma family, which had this curse that they were inflicted on, that whenever they are hugged by the opposite gender, they poof and they kind of turn into the animal of their zodiac. And it's actually a very haunting and distressing thing to their life. And this Fruits Basket story really just revolves around the characters of the Soma family, Toru Honda's life, and Toru's present and how she tries to deal with whatever setbacks she had. And it really started off when her own mom passed away. She had a very hard time and she had to live in she kind of camped out in the Soma estate by accident. I don't know if by accident or not, but I think she just kind of camped there because she had no home or something. And basically this Shiger, or I can't remember, somebody found her, and then that's how she kind of got drawn into the Soma family. And the book taught me a lot about, especially it taught me a lot of empathy that I didn't understand back then. Because even when you're a teenager, sometimes it's just hard for you to connect these things together. And like I said, this isn't planned, so as I read through this, things like fever and I know it seems silly, but this book was deep. This whole story is deep, not in a brutal way, not in a killing, dark way, in a very honest, pure, familial, love, human way. In a very human way, it's raw. In a very human way, it's deep. And I had a big crush on Yuki Soma. And I think because it addressed certain topics like ostracism, and Kyo Soma, which is the other main male lead who, spoiler or not spoiler, I don't know, has a crush on Toru Soma. He kind of likes her in the end. And he's the 13th zodiac, okay? That zodiac is not included in the original circle. And he's the cat. And, many people think that the cat is actually a bad omen and he's cursed. And because of all this negativity in his life, he kind of grew up just really bad-tempered and everything. And Yuki Soma is the rat, which is the special, because the rat in the Chinese zodiac is actually the first animal. So he's supposed to be this very special, gifted, and unique individual. And so they are vastly different. These two male leads both like Toru Honda, who's not in this drama at all. And one is supposedly lived his life so special. The other, the complete opposite end, ostracized and looked down upon, spat upon, really just judged badly upon. And they both like the same girl. And I think the relationship between these two characters is that they are filled with a lot of jealousy towards each other. Oh, why is he having such a good life? And the other one, this Kyo always grew up, I think, resenting the attention that Yuki got, the love and respect, the reverence that he got, just because he was born in the year of the rat, and he's the first. And that's how I sort of think that Kyo resented Yuki, And the thing is, okay, there's going to be a bit of spoilers here, is that Yuki actually is envious of Kyo. Now, why do you say that? It's bizarre because why would he be envious of, the ostracized, the last animal, the last zodiac, that's not even in the circle? It's because Yuki had a really hard time with what he was given, okay? And sometimes even if you're given this special power, even though you're the first, if your own family is not really, connecting with you, it makes life really hard. And that was the case, for Yuki and Kyo both. They were both young boys who were basically treated like crap in different ways by their parents. And it's the first time that I saw, there was this comment that I saw about Fruits Basket that was saying like, well, most of the characters, they have really, really bad family situations. And I'm thinking, yeah, maybe that's true, but maybe that's also because of the nature of the way. And when I read it, it exposed me to, even though it may be a story, but it exposed me like, wow, there's actually problems like this. And they become the characters that they are now. And even though they had such hard pasts, like Momiji, he's such a cheerful boy. But the thing is, he had a very, very painful family past, and his own mom doesn't recognize him at all. So it's horrendous. But yeah, and this whole series is deep and filled with a lot of twists, unexpected turns, revelations of characters and layers. I think one of the most intriguing characters is actually Shigeru Soma, because Shigeru Soma is basically this dude, and he's born in the year of the dog, and he's an intriguing character because till the end of the series you find out that he had a motive all along, and it's a really shocking motive. Not shocking, but it's kind of like a revelation or something. And that's how most of the story goes, is that it keeps twisting and turning, and it's deep. It's really, everyone has a reason for things. And this is Momiji. Where's Momiji? This guy is Momiji. This cute little boy who looks young, but is actually. And this book number 3 taught me a very, very important lesson, which is called The Most Foolish Traveler in the World. And I could read this for you because the one who read this story to Toru and Kyo was actually Momiji. Because Toru had said that, she had said that she feels very happy, very blessed, and because of something. And then because Toru is just really, really a very selfless and grateful girl, and Kyo had gotten angry and said that she was like, that's not very good on her. She gets the shorter end of the stick. Why is she being so selfless? And he got very angry at her. And so Momiji came in and said, he told them a story of the most foolish traveler in the world. And this Momiji had and in his classroom they had read this story called The Most Foolish Traveler in the World, and his whole class had laughed except him. Okay, so one day the foolish traveler was on a journey, but he was always taken advantage of because he was so stupid. He was cheated of all his money, his clothes, and even his shoes. Yet when the townspeople lied and thanked him for his help, the traveler would burst into tears and kept repeating the words, "I wish you happiness." The traveler was embarrassed about his naked self, so he headed and left off into the forest. In the end, he was completely stripped bare. This time, the traveler encountered forest demons. The demons were hungrily eyeing the traveler's flesh, and one by one they each put up a convincing act in order to deceive him. Like, "Oh, my child is so ill." And once again, the foolish traveler was quick to believe and willingly gave away his arms and legs. Eventually, only his head was left. Even so, the traveler still gave up his eyes to the last demon. As the last demon gobbled up his eyes, it chuckled. "Thank you for that. Allow me to give you a present as a token of my appreciation." Saying which, it dropped something in front of the traveler and he left. But that too was a lie. The present was nothing more than a scrap piece of paper with the word "idiot" written on it. And yet, the traveler was overwhelmed with tears of joy. "Thank you, thank you," he kept repeating over and over. "This is the first time anyone's ever given me a present. I'm so happy. Thank you, thank you." The tears just kept flowing and flowing from the eyes that were no longer there. And finally, the foolish traveler died. Everyone in Momiji's class laughed when they heard the story. And they said things like, it's so lame, what a moron. Let's read something else. What kind of story was that? But there Momiji was with his eyes closed, thinking about that guy. And how even when all he had was just his head, he was still so happy and crying tears of joy. And then he thought to himself, he is such an endearing person. So Momiji thought, what if he's made use of, or if he suffered? It's useless to think about such things because none of it mattered to him. None of that mattered to him. Other people may think that he's stupid, but to me, he isn't stupid at all. This is what Momiji said. Others may consider him an easy target because he's so gullible, but I would never deceive him. I think that all he ever wants is just to make others happy. And I think what Momiji is trying to say is that this traveler is just selfless. And yes, in some ways, that's why I say when people are born kind, the reason why that kindness kind of diminishes is because, of what you might think selfishness, gullibleness and stuff like that. It kind of vanquishes that purity and that intent of what we were naturally born with. And I've seen it in my kids. I mean, I don't have kids, but I teach kids, so I've seen it in them, this selflessness. And of course, they will grow up. There will be a time where they grow up and think. There are some kids of mine that think, what's the point of helping? There's some that are like that because they were raised in a certain or particular way, or maybe they didn't have any sibling to share with. But I've seen many that are selfless, and I think that's just really important. But of course, as you grow up, you start to think, more for yourself, more about, maybe some people might call it selfish or self-centered, but there are also people that never lose that kindness in them, and it's not a bad thing. In fact, it's more courageous to have that kindness in a world that has lost most of it than to say, I'm gonna be one of the world just so I can live my life better. Because when it comes to change, who changes then? If everyone wants to be a sheep, who's gonna be the difference? What's gonna change the world? Are you just gonna be a sheep and follow? I still remember to this day, there's this psychology test that I took. I think this Myers-Briggs test, I think. And there was this question asking about, would you rather your child grow up to be kind or smart? That's a very tricky question because a lot of us are born into practicality. A lot of us have been honed or seen society in a certain way that makes us think, not good, this is better, even though it may not be that good, that morally right, but I think it has to happen. Sometimes it has this intent of it has to happen. But if I ask an adult, some might say I'd rather they grow up to be smart because that's the world, that's how it is. But if I ask kids, and I have asked them before something about, would you rather be slow and try your best, or would you rather be fast? And because there was a story about the rabbit and the hare, the rabbit and the tortoise, or the hare and the tortoise, and would you rather be like the rabbit or the tortoise? Almost everyone, a majority of them wanted to be the tortoise, because the tortoise symbolized trying, effort. Even though you may not be the smartest, even though you may not be the fastest, you try, and effort is what counts. And even though you may be smart, like, your child may got to be A star and everything, I mean, what do you want him to value more? His personality or his intelligence? Because these things make so much differences. Attitude, must be shaped. In terms of thinking, knowledge can be learned. But attitude is really honed. And to be honed, it's really something that you have to put into value first, more than just, intelligent. Of course, it's important. I'm not saying it's not important, but I think especially for kids, if you ask them a question like that, they would say that, I'd rather be kind. There are some that might say, hey, I'd rather be smart because, they have this thinking, results. But ultimately, being kind makes you happy. If you truly want to be kind, you don't really have to force yourself. It's just something that makes you happy, and you don't have to think about what people say. So that story really stuck in my head. As someone who's in, I think, secondary 1, 13 years old, I myself didn't know much about empathy and like stuff like that. It doesn't really come into us. We were like, play, do something like that. And then I read this story, and it just stuck in my head for the longest time. And so I really recommend you, and I've said the story, and I really recommend at least volume number 3 of Fruits Basket for someone to read, because that that story is really, really educational. So it's teaching about so much happiness someone gets from being kind. It's not about what people think. It's not about what you feel. It's like you felt happy. It's about you. You felt happy by giving. And that's what matters. You feel happy by putting others first. It doesn't have to be forced. It doesn't have to be fake. It's just what you are. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay to be selfless. Of course, unless there's a period of time when you really feel like you're really being made use of, then, maybe you should step away. But for those that you feel are worth it, maybe it's your friends, maybe it's your family, maybe it's someone really important, then why not? Why not? I would really love for my kids to not diminish that aspect of them. But of course, as people grow up, things change. So, which is fine. So, but this is a really important story to learn. And so that's my review of book 3, I think, of Fruits Basket. There's so many other books that I haven't reviewed yet, like all this. But I'm just gonna say, it taught me a lot about sibling love. Kakeru, my favorite interactions in terms of relationship is actually Kakeru and Machi, and Toru and Kiyo. I really, really like Kakeru because the characters they tend to like joke around, but they have this layer of seriousness about them, which I feel like is really, really important and nice because it gives them a really important glimpse of certain things. So Kakeru was actually this guy this very, very like, he's the vice president of the student council, and he's like this very jokey guy, and he seems like a very cheerful guy. But the thing is, when he was in middle school, he was a very, very upset and very serious and angry person. He looked angry until he loved a girl, of course, and then the girl, I guess, I don't know, they just fell in love and stuff happened, and but he had a lot of hatred in him at first. And he said a comment about like knocking on the door and never having it open. He said it in terms of parents. You like knocking on the door and they don't answer. It was kind of relatable actually. I mean, for Yuki, so the both of them really just kind of bonded. And this whole series, I can't review every single one of these, but I started out with book 3, and I would really encourage people, if you want this very emotional, very in-depth, it teaches you empathy. Till now I've not, I don't really read a lot of manga. I really stopped anime and all that. So this is the first real manga that I ever really read. It's the first manga that I read actually, and I'm so grateful I found this series first. I started out with this series because it taught me so many things about humans, understanding love, compassion, empathy, trying, and just families and stuff like that. It just taught me so much, just so much. It's not your average book, so it's really, you should really just try reading Fruits Basket, because I would completely recommend it. Like 5 out of 5 stars for the effort and for the story it's been written, So yeah, so that's my review and my thinking of Fruits Basket, the manga. I've not watched the anime, but really do read the manga. If you need to read a manga, if you want to learn a lot about empathy and family and stuff and love and stuff like that, really pick up Fruits Basket. It will teach you a lot of valuable lessons that you really won't forget. Okay, so bye.